Imagine a serial killer so ruthless she executes police officers in broad daylight, yet so stealthy she ghosts through 3 countries without ever being caught on a single security camera. For 16 years, she was Europe's most hunted woman. But here is the paradox. She left her exact DNA at 40 different crime scenes, yet she never committed a single crime. Welcome to the impossible case of the Phantom of Heilbronn. Our story begins in 1993 in Idar Oberstein, a quiet, unsuspecting town in Germany. A 62-year-old churchwarden named Lieselotte Schlenger is found strangled to death in her own home. The murder weapon, just a simple piece of garden twine. There are no fingerprints, there are no witnesses. The only clue is a microscopic trace of genetic material left on the rim of a teacup sitting on her kitchen table. The DNA reveals one thing: the killer is female. But with no database matches, the trail goes ice cold. The teacup swab is filed away in a locker. 8 years later, in 2001, the ghost returns. On the outskirts of a German forest, a discarded heroin syringe is found. Forensic teams swab the needle and run it through the system. It's a perfect match to the teacup from 1993. Now, investigators are paying attention. A female strangler who is also a heroin user? It's an unusual profile, but not impossible. But then, the DNA starts showing up in places that make absolutely no sense. The genetic signature begins to multiply across Europe. It's found on a toy pistol used in the robbery of a Vietnamese gemstone trader in Arbois, France. It's found on a rock used to smash a window during a burglary in Saarbrücken, Germany. It turns up at a burglarized optometrist shop in Austria. Suddenly, law enforcement across 3 nations realizes they aren't looking for a common thief. They are hunting a criminal mastermind. The press dubs her the woman without a face. She is a phantom. She has no distinct modus operandi. She is a burglar, an armed robber, an addict, and an assassin. But things go from bizarre to completely terrifying on April 25, 2007, in the southern German town of Heilbronn. 22-year-old police officer Michèle Kiesewetter and her partner are ambushed while sitting in their patrol car. Kiesewetter is shot point-blank in the head and killed. Her partner is critically wounded. Their service weapons and handcuffs are stolen. When forensic teams swab the blood-soaked patrol car, the results send a shockwave through the continent. The DNA belongs to the Phantom. The manhunt explodes. The German police establish a massive, dedicated task force named Parkplatz. A €300,000 reward is placed on the Phantom's head. Interpol is mobilized. In Heilbronn alone, desperate police officers log a staggering 16,000 hours of overtime. They even resort to consulting fortune tellers and diviners. But the profile of the Phantom defies all logic. She is allegedly working with a constantly rotating roster of criminal accomplices, from Slovakian gangs to Serbian, Albanian, and Romanian syndicates. How does a single woman travel across Europe, work with dozens of paranoid ethnic crime syndicates, commit 40 crimes, including executing a cop, and never get caught on a single CCTV camera? Because the DNA matched, the police ignored the screaming logical fallacies. They were blinded by their absolute faith in the infallibility of modern forensic science. They were so busy looking everywhere else, they forgot to look right in front of them. The whole terrifying illusion shatters in March 2009. French authorities are trying to identify a burned male corpse. To figure out who he is, they pull a years-old asylum application he had submitted and swab it to lift his fingerprints. When the lab runs the DNA from the old, dusty government form, the results are impossible. The Phantom of Heilbronn's female DNA is on the paper. The timeline is impossible. The Phantom couldn't have touched a dead man's archival paperwork years before her crime spree began. Staring at the impossible result, the forensic tech does the only thing left to do. They take a brand new cotton swab from a different batch, and they run the test again. The Phantom's DNA vanishes. The most prolific female serial killer in European history didn't exist. She was a ghost born in a laboratory. The DNA belonged to an innocent woman working on the packaging line at Greiner Bio 1 International AG, an Austrian medical supply factory. For 16 years, police departments across Germany, Austria and France had been buying these swabs, believing they were the Mercedes of cotton swabs. The factory strictly sterilized the swabs, but here is the fatal flaw. Sterilization uses radiation to destroy living bacteria and viruses. It does not destroy human DNA. Every time an investigator proudly opened a sterile swab at a crime scene, they were not collecting evidence. They were depositing the factory worker's DNA onto the scene. The Phantom was an innocent factory worker. But the tragedy of this story isn't just about a 16-year wild goose chase. It's about the true monsters who were allowed to escape. While thousands of police officers hunted a non-existent woman, the real murderers slipped away. It was later discovered that Officer Michèle Kiesewetter wasn't killed by a phantom. She was the final victim of the National Socialist Underground, a violent neo-Nazi terror cell that operated completely undetected for a decade, murdering immigrants while the police chased a ghost. The Phantom of Heilbronn is a terrifying reminder. Science might be objective, but it is wielded by humans. And when we place absolute, unquestioning faith in our tools, we become perfectly blind to the truth. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what historical plot twist you want me to uncover next.